What's up, guys? It's your Tiered Gamer and bringing you another gameplay commentary, guys. This is nothing about the gameplay, but this is a video on my thoughts and actually the real happenings of World War II. Now, World War II is the most bloodiest battle known, well, the bloodiest war known to the world, and it still affects relationships today between countries and places. So, if everyone knows or everyone has done been taught World War II in history at school, or just generally been watching films on when the time that World War II happened was 1939. False. It happened in 1933 when Japan invaded Manchuria in China, and then when the Japanese still invaded China down the south, and it still reflects in conflict from today from Japan and China, and it's still, from trading to everything from royal trust, guys. The Japanese and Chinese still hate each other from today, guys, from the mass slaughter of the Japanese to the Chinese. Why did the Japanese invaded China? For living space. As you don't know, Japanese population was coming out of a hole in the islands, and all they wanted to do was invade the nearest thing, China and Korea and Manchuria. So, with these countries being occupied by Japan in 1933, the war in the Far East didn't finish till 1945, guys. That is when 1937, when 1933, the same year that Hitler came to power, when the Japanese were attacking Manchuria and China and Korea, Hitler came to power with the Nazis. Now, the Nazis, as you know, are very evil and Hitler had a thing for the Jewish, and Hitler fought in the First World War, guys, and he died, in fact, of musket gas from the British, and he was very badly wounded and couldn't see for a couple of months, guys, because of the musket gas and that. So as we know by now, Hitler wanted to bring back the fatherland of Germany to its former glory in the glory days of World War One. If you didn't know, war is territory of war at World War One was really bad at the moment, with Russia owning most of Europe, guys. So it kind of made Germany kind of not really worth it. As one of the packs of Germany in the World War One, they had to be stripped of any naval officers and any army soldiers or regular army soldiers because of World War One and the defeat of it. Hitler blamed the defeat on World War Two on the Jews. Now, the Jews, guys, really did make quite a lot of population of the Europe at that moment in time, and Hitler found it that the Jews in the First World War, that the Jewish people were allowed to fight in the First World War for the Germans. Now, it did take a long period of time before Hitler invaded Poland. Why? Because he invaded it for Lebensraum, or living space. Germany wants to be self-sufficient for its rest of its days. Now, Germany know that it wasn't going to survive mostly on its own farms, because Germany didn't have many farms in that period of time. So they thought of invading Poland, the Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Belarus as well, and a part of Russia. By that time, Russia was friends with the Poles, and most of the Jews that lived in Poles died. Now, the Poles, if you don't know, guys, they didn't really put much of a fight, mainly because they were surprised of how many Germans happened. But the thing that really was surprising them was the thing called the Blitzkrieg. Now, the Blitzkrieg is a movement by the Germans that they invented that puts a lot of man and tanks and loads of air power to put a fast attack onto the enemy as quickly as possible as can be. Now, the Germans done really well doing the Blitzkrieg until going into Stalingrad. We'll talk about Stalingrad and other wars in a minute. Now, the Germans pushed their way into Poland, and then for pushing their way into Poland and using the Jews not in extermination camps, as in labor camps. Now, why did they open up labor camps then to gas camps? Now, the Lebensraum, or living space, the people who used to live in the area, the Ukrainians, Belarusians, the Baltic states countries, and the Poles, were going to be called the Jews. These were going to be the people going to be worked and starved to death. The problem is that Hitler opened the death camps up because the Jews weren't dying enough from famine and food and lack of water and shelter. So they opened the death camps, mainly because to just get rid of the population. Now, Hitler then invaded France, Austria, and Italy. Italy were allied with the Germans, as well with Austria and Switzerland, and Hungary and Romania. Now these countries all allied together to Germany to get France and Belgium and the Netherlands. The UK went to war because they invaded Belgium, guys. Belgium is a very big ally for the UK as a whole, or the British, because that country is just a main supplier of of trade as well, and invading France is a very big thing. They got France in 7 months, guys. 7 months. A country like France is massive, and that is just astonishing. But then after that, 1941, the Blitz happened, and the Blitz in London, where Germans were bombing UK towns and cities like London, Coventry, Manchester, Southampton, Portsmouth. All children and all women were evacuated to the countryside in Essex and in Suffolk and in Norfolk, guys. So mostly, as we see now, the Germans are actually planning to take the British Isles and Britain, mainly to use them. But the good thing, Britain won the war mostly because they're an island. Islands really do help. But as they see that Britain was in trouble and they couldn't really fall back and get as many troops as they can, so they left Britain to surrender, and they left Britain to wait, and they went for the Eastern Front. I don't know why it's called the Eastern Front, because it's actually called in Russia the Western Front, but it's called the Eastern Front because the Germany's attacking on the east side. So Germany are attacking Russia, and they were going fast. They went to the Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, but then Stalin put agreement pack, if the war ended, he will get Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia to form the USSR. Now, as I say, those countries were only valuable for mostly soldiers, guys, and they were used for death camps as well when Hitler claimed them. Hitler went to the Ukraine and got the Russians' bread basket. That's where most of the bread and wool was mostly made in Ukraine, and the Soviets really didn't win that kind of thing. And when they lost Ukraine, it seemed to all end up before going into Stalingrad. Stalingrad now is name is Volgograd because Stalin sucks so much cock, and people understand that Stalingrad was a great thing. It was called the Rat War because everyone fight like rats in the sewers, and it was a horrible war. A hand-to-hand combat, it was the known weapon of choice from the Russians. And do you know why the Russians won the war? Conscripts. The Russians had 60% of the world's population was Russian, guys. Russian. And it was because if you look at it now, Russia, it doesn't have a really big population. Mainly because at that time, Russia had loads of states. And Russia had loads of states all the way in Turkey, all the way to Poland, guys. And that was a big empire. And, Hitler made the wrong decision of going to Russia in the wintertime, and only one faction in the world only got Russia in the wintertime, and that is the Mongols, guys. The Mongols, yes. So, after failing to catch Stalingrad, after splitting his army to the Caucasus, where Russia's oil fields were, they got counterattacked, and they died, and they got pushed back. But the problem was when the US joined the war into the Middle East and also in Africa. That's when the first times the Americans actually fight Nazis into the war, and that. Also, guys, Japan was getting attacked by Japan was attacking Thailand, so that kind of made Australia and New Zealand part of the British Commonwealth kind of scared. But we can fight them still back closer, and Burma and Thailand and Singapore both from the English Commonwealth also wants to be helped as well from us. So mostly the story kind of represents that kind of, the world as we know it kind of destroyed really, because, why did this happen? Because of living space, of that, because America won the war mostly because they put the two deadliest weapons known to mankind on the island, killing 2 million Japanese from cancer, from illness. If you lived a mile away, you were blown up smithereens. And then the Germans kind of decreased. Italy lost Mussolini after getting attacked. Italy got attacked in Sicily by the Canadians and the Americans. And then after that, it's just a scattered thing. And it shows you how much a man can drive you. Hitler wasn't not from Germany. He was from Austria. Stalin wasn't from Russia. He was from Georgia. It shows you these people have different playing styles and leadership. And why did war happen? Living space, Lebensraum. Russia had so much living space. They can, throw people at the German light machine guns, and that's what they did. Germany thought to themselves, okay, we've got loads of submachine guns and loads of light machine guns and artillery. Do you know what we're going to do? We're going to shoot them all. The Russians don't care. The Russians just run them back. And, you know, I'm going to talk a bit more about Russia at the moment, probably in another video, about Russia and why they fight and, you know, Russian tactics and all that, guys. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, guys. This is about World War II. I probably might do, like, this is just a brief summary. I might do, like, some more parts, and I might do some other wars as well, guys. So, this is a brief part of World War II and how that happens. I will do a longer one in another video, episode 1. And we're going to do the Japanese story and the Americans and all that lot. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, and see you for the first episode of the long one. Yeah, cheers guys, bye.